So we'll start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakatam Dadati Supadantam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutam नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषण्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशाय नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गावत्वश्री नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वर वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So you can be muted and you can recite along with me. कार्पण्यदोषोपहातस्वभाव पुच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता यश्रेयस्य निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति न जायते म्रूयते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयात् अजो नित्यशाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां दयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधान विधीयते प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैर्कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते एवं परंपरा प्राप्तं मम राजर्षयो विदुः सकालेनेह महता योगो नष्टपरन्तपा परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति सोऽर्जुन तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयो न एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधा भोगैश्वर्य भोक्ता भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मता. Okay, today who can someone volunteer to read?
Can I read, Prabhuji? Or anybody else is ready then?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, Prabhu. So now in the next two shlokas, Krishna is going to summarize the instructions, summarize about the transcendental knowledge, and again give some action points for Arjuna. Yes, bro, you can recite after me. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam. Sharat bro, you can recite.
Yes, योगसन्न्यस्य कर्माणं
Who is ready, Prabhuji?
ज्ञानसञ्चिन्न संशयम्
आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नाति धनञ्जय.
आत्मवन्तं न कर्माणि निबध्नान्ति धनञ्जय.
The translation. Yoga sannyasta karmana means karma yoga, renouncing the fruits of action. Jnana sanchinna samshayam, destroyed doubts by transcendental knowledge. Na karmani nibadnati means actions don't bind the jiva. So if somebody performs karma yoga, renouncing the fruits of action, so then transcendental knowledge gets awakened and the doubts are destroyed. So then the actions don't bind the jiva. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Because transcendental doubts are destroyed, and one has renounced the fruits of action, so he will not be bound by the actions. Yes, Prabhu, can read the purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. One who follows the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita as it is imparted by the Lord, the personality of Godhead himself, becomes free from all doubts by the grace of transcendental knowledge. He, as a part and parcel of the Lord, in full Krishna consciousness, is already established in self-knowledge. As such, he is undoubtedly above bondage to action.
Renouncing the fruits of action means he is not doing the work for getting any sense gratification. So in that way, he will not be, he is above the laws of karma. As long as one is doing the work for fruits, he will be under karma. If he is doing good work, he will get pious fruits. If he is doing bad work, wrong work, he will get sinful reactions. But because here the individual is not doing for any fruits, he is doing for his spiritual advancement, so he will not be bound. So now Krishna is telling again Arjuna to fight. Tasmad ajnana sambhutam hrutstam jnanasina atmana
तस्मात् अज्ञानसम्भूतं हृतस्थं ज्ञानसिनात्मना
चित्वैनं संशयं योगम अतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत.
चित्तवैनं समस्यं योगम् आतिष्ठोत्तिष्ठ भारत.
Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Jnana Sina means the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So here the knowledge means the knowledge of Atma Gyan as well as the Tattva Gyan. Tattva Gyan means knowledge of absolute truth. Yes, Pro, you can read the purport.
The yoga system instructed in this chapter is called Sanatana Yoga, or eternal activities performed by the living entity. This yoga has two divisions of sacrificial actions. One is called sacrifice of one's material possessions, and the other is called knowledge of self, which is pure spiritual activity. If sacrifice of one's material possessions is not the overtail for spiritual realization, then such sacrifice becomes material. But one who performs such sacrifices with a spiritual objective or in devotional service makes a perfect sacrifice.
Yesterday we discussed how if we are doing with knowledge and spiritual realization, then we do the activities for the right purpose and we do the activities also properly without committing any mistakes. So that way we will get that desired result also. Yes.
When we come to spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely understanding of one's own self or one's constitutional position and the truth regarding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who follows the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is can very easily understand these two important divisions of spiritual knowledge. For him, there is no difficulty in obtaining perfect knowledge of the self as part and parcel of the Lord, and such understanding is beneficial. For such a person can easily understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. In the beginning of this chapter, the transcendental activities of the Lord were discussed by the Supreme Lord Himself.
Yeah, Krishna told about why he incarnates. He gave almost three reasons he gave. Through three shlokas he gave reasons, and how he tells that he he's same body. For him, the body and soul are same, and he comes by his own desire. All those things Krishna explained. Yes, next.
One who does not understand the instructions of the Lord is faithless and is to be considered to be misusing the fragmental independence awarded to him by the Lord. In spite of such instructions, one who does not understand the real nature of the Lord as the eternal, blissful, all knowing personality of Godhead is certainly fool number one. Ignorance can be removed by gradual acceptance of the principles of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is awakened by different types of sacrifices to the demigods: sacrifice to Brahman, sacrifice in celibacy, in household life, in controlling the senses, in practicing mystic yoga, in penance, in foregoing material possessions, in studying the Vedas, and in partaking of the social institution called Varnashrama Dharma. All of these are known as sacrifice, and all of them are based on regulated action.
Yes, so Prabhupada nicely summarized all of them, and everything will lead to transcendental knowledge, means the realization of Atma Jnana. Yes.
But within all these activities, the important factor is self-realization. One who seeks that objective is the real student of Bhagavad Gita. But one who doubts the authority of Krishna falls back. One is therefore advised to study Bhagavad Gita or any other scripture under a bona fide spiritual master with service and surrender. A bona fide spiritual master is in the disciplic succession from time eternal, and he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to Sun God, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviates others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, so as we discussed yesterday, so having information is any may have, but having the belief that it is right, it is true, and also having the conviction that this is the most important thing in life to do. So that is faith. So that is important on the transcendental knowledge. It's not just taking information, but we should have that faith or conviction in that. Okay. Yeah. So Prabhupada nicely summarized the important points of this chapter in this purport. So, so till now for last three chapters we are studying Karma Yoga. Sometimes it may appear everything is same or no, it is repetition or not, but not exactly it is like that. So let us just revise what are the different things we learned in different chapters. So in second chapter, in the third section, we first studied Karma Yoga. So in that he says it is action based on Atma Gyan. So Krishna tells I have explained you the knowledge of soul. Now I'll explain to you how to act based on the knowledge of soul. So that's why Karma Yoga is acting based on Atma Gyan, and its results are permanent because it is being performed at the platform of soul. That Neha Bikramana Shosti words. Then it is difficult to focus if practice for material desires. If it is material desires, then the purpose keeps on changing, because one will initially think heaven is important. Sometimes other may think no, wealth in this world is important. So like that, the purpose we can keep on changing. But if one is focused on the spiritual purpose, that is purification of heart and liberation, so then it is easy to focus. So through Nishkam Karma Yoga, if one performs, the previous sinful reactions are cleansed. So this is Arjuna's concern, that if he fights as a duty, he may have to kill people. Because of that, he will get sinful reactions. But if he's doing it as a duty, as Nishkama Karma Yoga, then he will not be affected by the sinful reactions. Then also the intelligence also will get purified from material conceptions, from the desires of heavenly enjoyment and all. The intelligence will get cleansed. Then intelligence becomes fixed on the absolute. So this is what we learned in the second chapter. Now coming to third chapter. Third chapter, in the first section, Krishna gives reason why one has to perform Karma Yoga instead of Jnana Yoga. The three reasons Krishna gives. One is purification, because one is not purified internally. So he should avoid hypocrisy. Because otherwise, if one is not purified and he tries to perform Jnana Yoga, he may become a hypocrite, because he has desires for sense gratification. So he may become a hypocrite as a renunciate. Then we saw, if Karma Yoga is performed, then it prevents us from material bondage. Yajnartha karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Then through Karma Yoga, it provides us all the material needs we need, like the food, the cycle of rains and grains we saw. So this is Karma Yoga, means it will maintain us, and it will purify us, and it will prevent us from hypocrisy. These are three reasons which Krishna gives. Okay, now fourth chapter. Okay, no, so third chapter, some in the second section, we learned Karma Yoga means one has to accept the authority of Vedas and Vishnu. It is performing the prescribed duties which are based on the Vedas. It's not just anything what you consider yourself as prescribed duty based on mental concoction, but it should be based on Vedas. Then we also saw Sakama Karma and sinful life. Sakama Karma, there is purification and all, but sinful life means one will be continuously incriminated in sinful reactions. Yeah. So while performing, so then Krishna tells one should the goal of Karma Yoga is to get liberation. So if you have to get liberation, you have to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, not Sakam Karma Yoga. So when one tries to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, one may be troubled by lust, and again one may switch back to Sakam Karma Yoga. So for that, the solution which Krishna gave is one should have regulation, and one should have transcendental knowledge. So that's why the fourth chapter is there. The fourth chapter is all about transcendental knowledge. So in this, Krishna described more. Krishna told how transcendental knowledge is eternal and it is time tested. Krishna keeps on incarnating to give the transcendental knowledge. And we also saw the symptoms of progressive transcendental knowledge of Karma Yoga, that one will not have any desires for sense gratification. He will not have possessive mentality. He will not be envious. He will be satisfied, and he will be spiritually absorbed. Then we saw the various types of various forms in which Karma Yoga can be performed. which Prabhupada listed in that paragraph in the purport, like as a brahmachari, as a grihastha, as a charity, or as study of scriptures. So like that, as austerity, as tapasya. So like that, there are different forms, or as pranayam, etc. And in all this focus, in all the end, the purpose of all these forms of karma yoga is one should realize the transcendental knowledge, that is knowledge of Atma and Bhagavan. So for that, to learn about it, one should take shelter of a spiritual master. And it's not just intellectual information, one should also develop faith in that, so that one will be freed from doubts. So this is what we have learned about karma yoga till now. In the 5th chapter, so the karma yoga discussion will come to end. So in the 5th chapter again, Arjuna gets confused, and around Krishna spends around 7-8 verses to again resolve it. It will be little like repetition of 3rd chapter beginning, but 3rd chapter the reasons Krishna gives is different, and here Krishna gives is little different. And then of a nishkama karma yogi, if one steadily practices nishkama karma yoga, so then what are the symptoms of that nishkama karma yogi, that is discussed. In the 3rd chapter, the problems faced by nishkama karma yoga, they are discussed, like the lust and how to solve it. So that's why the 4th chapter there. In 5th chapter, the symptoms of a nishkama karma yogi is described, and also then the perfected karma yogi, those symptoms are also described. And then it will lead to the 6th chapter. So once karma yoga is finished, the heart is purified, one can practice Jnana yoga, and subsequently Dhyana yoga. So that is discussed in the 6th chapter. Okay. Okay, so we will proceed to the 5th chapter. Okay, so the 5th chapter, there are 4 sections. So first again, Arjuna again expresses confusion, and Krishna resolves it. So that is the first section. Karma yoga is equal to or but easier than renouncing one. Karma yoga versus karma sannyas. That is first to 6 verses. Then again, description of a Nishkam Karma Yogi, 7 to 12 verses. Then relationship between Ishvara, Jeev and Prakriti, 13 to 16. And then vision of a Jnani or Paramatmavadi, 17 to 26. So in this chapter, it will slightly go towards little bit of Jnana Yoga. And then in the 6th chapter, it goes to Dhyana Yoga. Okay, first chapter we'll study. Okay, the first verse. Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Vacha.
Sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samshasi.
Sannyasam karmana Krishna punaryogam cha samsasi.
Yashreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam.
Yashreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishitam.
With the translation, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you ask me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Sannyasam karmana means renouncing the actions. Punar yogam, again you are telling to perform work. Because if you see the last 2 slokas of the 4th chapter, no, sarvam karma akilam partha, yeah. So, chitvainam samshayam yogam atishto tishta bharata. Means the last sloka in 4th chapter, Krishna is telling, fight. Aimed with the sword of transcendental knowledge, fight. But before Krishna told no, that no sarvam karma akilam partha jnane parisamapyate. So again, these appear little again contradictory. So that's why again Arjuna is telling Krishna again to clarify. In one sense, now also Arjuna is a bit attached still he feels little bit that better he does not fight. So that is also there. Yes, bro, can read the purport.
In this fifth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. In the second chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material engagement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained therein in the third chapter. In the third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the fourth chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities.
Yeah, so work in devotion means karma yoga, and inaction in knowledge is karma sannyas. Both are different and both cannot be performed simultaneously. That is the confusion of Arjuna. As such, Prabhupada also explained the same thing, that in the fourth chapter, from very beginning till end, there is a lot of emphasis on knowledge. And the last two slokas, again, Krishna is telling about fighting. So that's what Arjuna got confused. Yes, continue.
But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyas or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity, because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires therefore whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge.
So, of course, Prabhupada in purports, he gives little devotional interpretation. Whenever Prabhupada says work in devotional service, you can understand in the context it means karma yoga. So Krishna again now answers. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Kara Ubhau
Sannyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyas Sakara Ubhau
Tayostu Karma Sannyasat Karma Yoga Vishishyate.
Tayastu Karma Sannyasa Tat Karma Yogo Vishishyate.
So Karma Yoga Vishishyate. Karma Yoga is better. So the translation, the personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion, which is Karma Yoga, are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service, which is Karma Yoga, is better than the renunciation of work. So the meaning is this, like, Karma Yoga does not bear the same faults that arise in practicing Jnana. But because of containing Jnana within it, it makes Jnana steady. So the Jnana, there can be problems because the senses are not engaged. So it is difficult. It is difficult to practice. For one who has renounced action because of steadiness in Jnana, if he develops a fault in the consciousness, he must perform Karma Yoga to correct the fault. This is an induction of scriptures for remedying the problem. That's what in Jnana, while performing Jnana, if someone has any sinful desire or performs any sinful act, so then again he has to again go through Karma Yoga. So that is the thing given in the scripture. So therefore Karma Yoga is better because Karma Yoga is more safe. Karma Yoga is better because it is easier to perform, because it is safer, and because it contains Jnana within it. you see, karma sannyas, it leads to liberation. But karma yoga, if you see, it is safer because there are less chances of fall down. Whereas karma sannyas, there is more chances because the senses are not engaged in karma sannyas, whereas senses are engaged in karma yoga. So if one is engaged, then the mind will not be so much carried away. But karma sannyas, that possibility is there. And karma yoga is easy to perform, whereas karma sannyas is difficult because one has to go against the senses, mind, everything. And karma yoga also leads to liberation. So that way, karma yoga is more better than karma sannyas. So, so the translation is, this is there in the purport of the notes. Yes, bro, you can read this.
Fruitive activities seeking sense gratification are cause for material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4 to 6 confirms this as follows. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yad indriya pritaya आपनोति न साधु मन्ये यत् आत्मनोऽयम् असन्न अपि क्लेश द आस देह पराभावस्तावत् अबोध जातो यावन्न जिज्ञासत आत्म तत्त्वम् यावत् क्रियास्तावत् इदं मनो वै कर्मणात्मकं येन शरीर बंध एवं मन कर्म वशम प्रयुक्ते अविद्यात्मने उपाधिया मानि प्रीतिर्न यावन् मयि वासुदेवे न मुच्यते देह योगेन तावत्. People are mad after sense gratification, and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's fruitive activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for fruitive results for sense gratification. And as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in fruitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then can one have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence.
Yeah, so Prabhupada stressed on how materialistic life means it will be perpetual bondage. So one has to perform yoga to get out of it. Yes.
Therefore, jnana or knowledge that one is not this material body but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. One has to act in the status of spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. Action in Krishna consciousness, karma yoga, is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, karma yoga, mere renunciation of fruitive activities does not actually purify the heart of the conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the fruitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness, karma yoga, automatically helps one escape the result of fruitive action so that one need not descend to material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is always superior to renunciation, which always entails a risk of falling. Renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete and is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Prapinchakateya buddhya हरिसंबंधी वस्तुना मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो वैराग्यं फल्गु कथ्यते. The secondary translation.
When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, the renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. One should therefore one should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then there is the question of renunciation. When one who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of the Mayavadi school.
The Prabhupada explained that when one performs work with transcendental knowledge, he will not be entangled. He will not be entangled. So that way there is no fall down. But if one is only doing renunciation, there is a chance of falling down. There is a risk of falling down. Here Prabhupada makes nice point that activities performed in full knowledge strengthens one's advancement in real knowledge. So when we have the philosophical understanding, along with that we apply it, so then our understanding deepens. We will get more and more confidence in that knowledge. So that's important. It's not just reading scriptures is sufficient, but when we put it into action, then we will get that conviction and realization, and we'll be more and more inspired to apply that. So and that will take us more and more near to Krishna, may give more and more spiritual advancement. So that's important. Then Prabhupada also talks about Yukta Vairagya, which means if something can be engaged in Krishna's service, it is not proper that to renounce it, but rather one should try to engage it in Krishna's service. So that is, if one is artificially renouncing it, calling that as material, it is not proper as per the rules of Bhakti. So this you will again study again when you are studying NOD, where it will be discussed in little more depth. Okay. So now Krishna is also again clarifying how Karma Yoga and taking Karma Sannyas, the results, it is included in Karma Yoga. Karma Sannyas is included in Karma Yoga. Gneya sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati.
Niya sanitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati.
Nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate.
Please, could you please scroll a little of me? Nirvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate.
One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person is free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage, and is completely liberated. O mighty armed Arjuna. Okay. So, performing Nishkam Karma Yoga means what? There is no desire for fruits, material results. So then one will be freed from dualities of like and dislike. So that will help one get purified from like and dislike. So then there is no material bondage, which is also the goal of Karma Sannyas. So in that way, Karma Yogi and Nitya Sannyasi, he is also a Nitya Sannyasi. Can read the purport.
One who is fully in Krishna consciousness, Nishkam Karma Yoga, is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his actions. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quality yet different in quantity is correct. Correct transcendental knowledge leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire to or lament over. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus freed from the platform of dualities, he is liberated even in this material world.
Yeah. So the consciousness wise, both a karma yogi, a sincerely practicing karma yogi, as well as a karma sannyasi. So both consciousness wise, they are same. So they don't have any, they are freed from dualities, and they don't have any desire for fruitive results. So consciousness wise, both are same. So they are both getting the same result in that way. And Krishna is telling the wise people, they see both. Krishna is not just telling no, that this is my opinion and this is my argument, but he's saying others means other sages and other scholars. They also consider both in the same way. Sankhya yoga prutagbala pravadanti na pandita
Sankhya Yogo Pratagbala Pravadanti na Pandita
ekamapi astita samyak ubayor vindate phalam.
Ekam Api Astita Samyak Ubhayor Vindate Phalam.
Bhala means less intelligent, prutak, these different paths. Pandita means wise, na pravidanti, don't see difference. So those who are less intelligent, they consider one as better, one is better than the other. But those who are intelligent and who knows the depth, who knows these things in depth, they consider, they don't see any difference between these two. Translation: only the ignorant speak of devotional service karma yoga as being different from the analytical study of the material world Sankhya. So those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the result of both. So, okay. So karma yoga also will lead to realization of transcendental knowledge, which Krishna told in the 4th chapter. Sarva karmam akhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. So Atma Gyan is there. Karma sannyas means yastu atma rati revasya. He is also established in Atma Gyan. So both again they lead to the same goal. Yeah, I can read the purport.
The aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu or the super soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. One process is to find the root of the tree and the other is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then, in perfect knowledge, he engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purposes of Sankhya and Karma Yoga, are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in these different processes.
Yeah. So one thing is sometimes there is a misconception that if the renounced order one gains realization by studying, but in let's say the grihastha order or something, so by experience one will understand. So it's not just by experience one will understand, but when one has the knowledge and And when one is experiencing, then one will understand. It's not blindly by just mechanically by experiencing, then he will get that realization. So in both cases, knowledge is important. But so that is means when we apply this concept in that context, it gives that. But yeah, in Sankhya philosophy, in this Jnana Karma Sannyas, so one will study scriptures and one will try to understand the matter analytically, and then one will try to see everything in the world from that perspective, and then one tries to find out who is that who is Purusha, and who is that super soul. So that is the approach of karma sannyas. Whereas karma yoga, so they do their duty as a service to Vishnu, and they also learn the knowledge, because that is what is taught na tadvidhi pranipatena. And by practicing karma yoga, slowly they will get purified and realize that knowledge. So both the end is the same. So then Krishna is saying that both should be seen in the same way. Yes, yat sankhye prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate.
यत् साङ्ख्ये प्राप्यते स्थानं तद्योगैरपि गम्यते
Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha ya pashyati sa pashyati.
एकं साङ्ख्यं च योगं च य पश्यति स पश्यति
So if one is able to see that how both are leading to the same result, then one is actually seeing properly. Otherwise, it is wrong. So one who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, karma yoga, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service, karma yoga, to be on the same level, sees things as they are. Yeah, you can read the purport.
The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. Since the ultimate goal of life is self realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by the two processes. By Sankhya philosophical research, one comes to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of the material world, but of the supreme spirit whole. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His actions must be in some relation with the Supreme. When he acts in Krishna consciousness, Karma Yoga, he is actually in his constitutional position. In the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter. And in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both processes are the same, although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Detachment from the matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are.
So, yeah. So in the karma sannyas, one will just study, and one will try to realize and understand it. And in karma yoga, one will also study, but when one is applying those principles, so through purification, then gradually one will also understand. So both. So one has to see, even if one is in renounced order, one has to see whether one's understanding is improving and one is able to realize what one is studying. And both again in the, you can means karma yoga, you can also, the principles will apply to somebody in grihastha order. So they also have to see whether they're able to, their realization is improving, they're able to understand more subject matter and all. So that has to be seen. It's not just if you do your duties mechanically, suddenly someone will get advanced overnight. It doesn't happen like that. Okay. So karma yoga, one will perform varnashrama dharma, which is constitutional position of Atma. So then seeing things as they are means seeing things rightly. So now you can take around 8 minutes And you can think about some devotees who are advanced in the renounced order. Then you can also think about devotees in the renounced order who committed mistakes and offenses. From Bhagavatam or yeah, other CC also you can do. Then you can think about devotees who are in household order who committed mistakes. Where is the other one? Okay, the first question, sorry, I forgot. First, you can think about devotees in the household order who are advanced. How they are very detached and how they are very devoted. Both examples you can think. Who have exceptional devotion and who also have exceptional detachment. Then same advanced devotees in renounced order. Then those in renounced order who committed mistakes, and household order also who committed mistakes. So then you can, from this analysis, what conclusions we can draw, then we can discuss. Okay, so you can take around 8 minutes, then we will discuss. Okay, so for the first question, you want to answer? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So Prabhuji, so first answer is Janak Maharaj. He is householder, but as well as he's a devotee and he's detached in his duties.
Yes.
Because you can see that he is a king of Mithila, but still he is not attached by anything.
Mm.
That's why he call that the person title them as a Videha.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Can I
Anyone
answer,
else?
Prabhuji?
Yes, bro. Can tell.
Amrish Maharaj?
Ambarish Maharaj. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yes, Shrikant.
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Srivas Thakur,
Yeah.
there is one pastime where Mahaprabhu was performing kirtan and his son was left his body and still he was like showed both detachment and devotion towards.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. There is one more pastime where Mahaprabhu asked him why you don't work. Then he told, no, I am
Clap.
to kirtan and clap and everyone. Then Mahaprabhu tells, even if goddess of fortune may become poor, but you will never, your house will be always abundant. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Shaz Prabhu is want to tell some more.
Yes, Prabhuji. I have one more example. Kola Vishwasridhar Prabhuji.
But is he a householder?
I don't know, but maybe I think it's I think it's a working, so maybe he's a
Yeah,
householder. It's
maybe.
not clearly mentioned in
Not clearly
Chetan
mentioned.
Chetan.
Yeah. Yeah, but he is also detached. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now advanced devotees in renounced order. Okay. Okay. Yes, tell. Yes, you can tell. Yes, Shaz Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the example is Kardam Muni Prabhuji. So he is
One is
advanced devotee.
householder, na? Of course, he
Okay.
put renounced order in that, but it's more falls in the householder.
Okay.
Who else is there?
Narad Muni, Prabhuji?
Yes, Narad Muni, nice. Yes. Shrikant Pro. Yes.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati
Yes,
Thakur.
yes, fine. Okay. Okay. Yashas Pro want to tell, no?
Yes, Chatush Kumar.
Yes, fine. Yes, in the Mahajans, there are both renounced order and householder. Okay, now for the third question, devotees in renounced order who committed offenses or did mistakes. Okay, yes, Yashas Pro.
Prabhuji Sabri Muni.
Okay, Sabri Muni, yes. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Shrikant Pro.
Can we say Bharat Maharaj because when he committed mistake he had renounced?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, fine. Yeah, there are others also in CC mentioned about Kala Krishna Das. Okay, Yashras Pro, you have any other example?
Yes, Prabhuji. Durvasa Muni. He committed offense on the lotus feet of Amrish Maharaj.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yes, thank you.
Prabhuji, I have one more example. Chota Haridas, is it comes in the
Yeah, he's
offense
renounced.
or?
Yeah, it's an offensive thought. So, okay, then mention devotees in householder life who committed mistakes.
Prabhuji, can I answer?
Yes.
Azamil?
Ajamel, he's not a, means he did not commit. Of course, he committed mistake. You can say yes, fine.
Because
Okay.
he was a householder, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Yes. He's a householder. Means he was also a devotee, kind of. So fine. Okay. Yes, Raj Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So, okay, to your house. Prabhuji, Yayati Maharaj.
Yayati Maharaj. He was not exactly mentioned as devotee, but Okay, so what mistake? Mistake means what?
No, he has a extramarital affair.
Okay, with Sarmishta and all. Okay, fine. Good. ठीक. Okay, ठीक. Anyone else? Any other examples? Yes, we have some more examples.
Yeah, Shachi Mata, because I heard in a lecture, so he committed offense on the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya.
Okay, fine, fine. Who else? Yes, Avtari Chaitanya Prabhu.
Prabhu Gopinath Patnaik, he spent king's money and was in trouble.
Okay, yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. Of course, Daksha is also one good example. And okay, now for the fifth one. So what we can conclude from this analysis or from this above discussion? We have discussed four things. Okay, Yashas Pro, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So we can see that by the all example, when we are in the association of devotee or when we are in the devotee circle, we have to be very attentive. Because as we are generally in the Guru Puja, we always said Vando Mui Savdhan Mate, because we have to be very careful while dealing with the devotees.
Okay, fine. Okay, anyone else? Something that will fit in the context of what we are discussing, the shlokas, or what Krishna wants to tell to Arjuna. Yes, Sharad Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. So by the all four examples, we can see that it is not that by just renouncing one's life is perfect, or if one is in householder life, then it's not possible for him to advance spiritually. So both things can happen in both order of life.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Anyone? Yes, Srikanth Prabhu, want to add something?
Actually, same what Sharad Prabhu said, that from the context of verse, it is like both can be seen as same, the karma yogi and the sannyasis. The aim should be same.
Yes, so both can happen. So both in both, so somebody can become successful, somebody can fail, possible. Okay. Yeah, so this discussion can be applied in this way in devotional context, but yeah, as Krishna wants to make the point, both karma yoga and karma sannyas, both will lead to the same goal. Both can be advanced, but in the context of karma yoga versus karma sannyas, there is a difference. Karma yoga is more easy to perform, which Krishna explained before. Of course, in the devotional context, both have, it's not something is easy, something is difficult. Both have their advantage and disadvantages. Okay. Now Krishna explains how karma sannyas is difficult in this next sloka. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkam aptum ayogata.
Sanyasastu mahabahu dukkam aptum ayogata.
Yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenadi gacchati.
Yoga yukto munir brahma na chirenati gacchati.
Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. So here devotional service means getting connected to the absolute truth. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service is yoga yukta, means connecting to the absolute, can achieve the supreme without delay. Sannyasa without karma yoga, ayogata, is difficult. Because sannyasi is just renouncing everything and doing nothing. So that will not lead to perfection. But if a karma yogi means he's performing his prescribed duties, but he has that understanding and he's performing the sacrifices to Vishnu and he has the knowledge of Vishnu and all. So he easily attains liberation. Yes, you can read the purport.
There are two classes of sannyasis or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy. whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis also study the Vedanta Sutras, but use their own commentary called Shariraka Bhashya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of Bhagavad school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord according to Pancharatriki regulations. And therefore, the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagements in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord because their studies become very tedious. They sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Dry speculations and impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into the material activities of a philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusion is that those who are engaged in Krishna conscious activities are better situated than the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births.
So, so here Prabhupada is contrasting between Karma Sannyas and Vaishnava Sannyas. Okay. So Vaishnava renounced order means there is sense engagement apart from sense restraint. Means the senses are engaged. Like even the Vaishnava sannyasis, they have their own deities. They do deity worship, and they preach, and they have some sense engagement. But whereas karma sannyas is very difficult, especially from the young age. So that's why actually Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhattacharya kahe ihara prauda yavana कीमते संन्यास धर्म ही बे रक्षणा निरंतर के वेदांत सुनिए बे वैराग्य अद्वैत मार्गे प्रवेश करिए बे. So they just rely on, so their focus is being renounced in the karma sannyas, means especially the Advaita sannyas. But in the Vaishnava sannyas, the focus is utilizing body, mind, words in the service of the Lord. So further they take sannyas. So that's why the karma sannyasis sometimes, because it becomes difficult, they try to use artificial methods to make themselves important. So they may eat there is some egg of some particular bird which makes one important. So like those things they adopt. Yeah. So that's why even Vaishnava sannyas, in some sampradayas, they don't encourage from very young age. They generally only recommend grihasthas to enter into renounced order. So that is also there. So it is important even for those in the renounced order to be connected to the Lord. So then only they will get liberation. So that is important. So in both, the purpose is to be connected to the Lord, and that will only lead to the success. So which way is easy for some, so that they have to adopt. Because objectively, between karma sannyas and karma yoga, it is clear karma yoga is more easier generally. But some may even adopt karma sannyas, very few. And same you can also apply between renounced order and householder order within devotional service also. Okay. So now Krishna goes to the next section where he describes about a practicing Nishkam Karma Yogi. He is more near to the perfection. So his thing Krishna is describing. Earlier in third chapter also there are some descriptions, but there the struggles which a practicing Nishkam Karma Yogi faces are described. So the problem of lust, the problem of senses getting entangled into sense objects, all those things are described. So now he again describes the symptoms of someone who is doing it properly. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya
योगयुक्तो विशुद्धात्मा विजितात्मा जितेन्द्रिय
sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvan api na lipyate.
सर्वभूतात्म भूतात्मा कुर्वन्नपि न लिप्यते.
So one who works in devotion means karma yoga, who is a pure soul who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Yoga yukta means a karma yogi with a divine connection. So, and Jitendriya means he is sense controlled. Vishuddhatma means he has pure intelligence. Pure intelligence means he has that knowledge of Atma and also absolute truth, Tattva Gyan also. Vijitatma means he has pure mind. And Atma Bhut or Sarva Bhutatma means he is dear to heart of everyone. Okay, you can read the purport.
One who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to its Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled, and because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, and he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone.
Wait a minute. This is it? Okay, you read.
One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out his orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work.
Yeah. It's not like Arjuna is fighting to take revenge. No, he has hurt me. The Kauravas have hurt me, so let me hurt them. So that is not exactly the mood. That may be a mundane consciousness, but Arjuna is concerned because they have sinful mentality, and that needs to be purified. they have hurt Draupadi, but tomorrow again they should not do to another woman. So, so for that they have to be purified, and so for that they have to undergo the punishment. So as a Kshatriyas, that is his duty to punish them, and and to protect other people from getting hurt by them. So that is the consciousness of a proper Kshatriya. It's not Arjuna wants to not take revenge. Let me hurt them. They are hurting. So not exactly that is the consciousness. And yes, as Prabhupada is writing, a man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. So offenses generally happen because of material consciousness. So to the extent one is material consciousness, so it is possible one may commit offenses. So that's why to the extent one, so the solution to reduce offenses is also to become more Krishna conscious and to become less material conscious, to reduce our material consciousness. Otherwise, of course, superficially one, that also is important. We can try to take practical caution and all, try to follow etiquettes and all. So that is also there. But a more sustainable or a solution is to advance in Krishna consciousness. So then naturally we may then the offensive tendency will reduce. But yeah, that is also important. Okay, so Prabhupada, this is well known. So the interviewer asks, how would I recognize a true follower of the Krishna consciousness movement by his behavior? What would his traits be? What would his outward expressions be? Srila Prabhupada said he would be a very perfect gentleman. That's all. He could not find any fault in him. This is an interview, so that's what. So this is also expectation of Prabhupada from devotees. Again, now gentlemen also again, of course, that is also needed to uh, understand what is refined behavior, proper behavior, and we should also do that. Uh, our speech should be proper, not rude and all. But this will happen naturally as we become more and more Krishna conscious also. And naturally, devotee, when he becomes sense controlled, he will become more and more sensitive and selfless. Okay, next symptom Krishna is describing. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid.
नैव किञ्चित् करोमीति युक्तो मन्येत तत्त्ववित्
Pashyan shunvan spushan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swashan
पश्यन् शृण्वन् स्पर्शन्
jigran
जिघ्रन् अश्नन् गच्छन् स्वपन् स्वसन्
pralapan vishrujan grihnan unmishan nimishan api.
प्रलपन् विसृजन् गृह्णन् उन्मिषन् निमिषन् अपि
Indriyani indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan.
इन्द्रियाणि इन्द्रियार्थेषु वर्तन्त इति धारयन्.
Okay, the translation is a person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So Tattvavit means one who is in knowledge. I think a similar word is again was used in third chapter also. So he knows that a result of action depends on 5 factors. This will come in the 18th chapter. So there are body, senses, prana, ego, and fate, karma. So he understands he is Atma apart from all these 5 factors. And he sees that the senses are interacting with the sense object. So while eating, he sees that the tongue is interacting with its sense objects. While sleeping, he sees that all the senses are stopped functioning. Smelling, he sees nose is interacting with its sense object. Touching, the skin is interacting with its sense object. Seeing, the eyes are interacting with their sense object. Hearing, so the ear is interacting with its sense object. So like that, he tries to, whatever he is doing, he tries to see that, he tries to see it in this way. So seeing in this way, what happens? That he understands that actually he is not doing. So the fruits also are not meant to him. So he will not be also attached to enjoying the fruits like that. Okay, you can read the purport.
A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence, and consequently, he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon five immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor, and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification. But in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord.
Yeah. Because same example, if we take, if somebody is earning money, doing some job, so he understands it is the intelligence that is given by karma, and that intelligence is acting, and uh, the job is getting done. The intelligence is directing the mind and the other working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses, and the job is happening. So so that way one understands that actually the results, the fruits of the job, which may be salary or whatever, recognition and all, so they also don't belong actually to the atma. So they belong to the prakriti or the intelligence or the lord of the prakriti. So that way one also, so that way one, this will help one to detach oneself from the fruits. Okay. So the devotee viewing the world, so one thing is to see it as Krishna's energy. So one can, so there are two levels. So one can see it as Krishna's energy, and one can uh, have indirect remembrance of Krishna and engage it in Krishna's service. Or another thing is seeing it as material energy and action of modes. So that will help in cultivating detachment, and that way devotee can engage in direct Krishna consciousness while doing that activity. So both things can be possible, especially when a devotee is engaging in the material activity. So one can see it as Krishna's energy, and no, he can either remember Krishna, or he can also be directly Krishna conscious, thinking that this is material. So both may be possible. Okay. So now this Padmapatra verse, this is the Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti ya.
ब्रह्मण्याय ब्रह्मण्यादाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः
लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्र इवाम्बसा.
लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रम् इवाम्भसा.
Yeah, just a minute. So for this, we can see two examples. If you see, like, Prithu Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, they saw their responsibilities of, kingdom and all as a service to Vishnu, as a service to Krishna, and so they are remembering Krishna in that way, and they are seeing it as Krishna's service also. But if you see Tukaram Maharaj and all, while he was executing his family responsibilities and all, he thought that this is all materialistic activity, and so he is seeing it as, no, I should be detached. So he's detached internally from those activities, and he's remembering Vittal while doing those things. So that way both consciousness are possible. Okay, so translation of this verse. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Because he is doing his duty without attachment, so and he is giving the results to offering to Supreme Lord, so he is not responsible for the mistakes also. So he is not be affected by sinful reaction. Yes, you can read the purport.
Here, Brahmani means in Krishna consciousness. The material world is a sum total manifestation of the three modes of material nature, technically called the Pradhana. The Vedic hymn Sarvam Hya Etad Brahma, Mandukya Upanishad, Tasmad Etad Brahma Nama Rupam Annam Jayate, Mundak Upanishad 119. And in the Bhagavad Gita 14.3, Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma, indicate that everything in the material world is a manifestation of Brahman. And although the effects are differently manifested, they are not different from the cause. In the Ishopanishad, it is said that everything is related to the Supreme Brahman or Krishna, and thus everything belongs to him only. One who knows perfectly well that everything belongs to Krishna, that he is the proprietor of everything, and that therefore everything is to be engaged in the service of the Lord, naturally has nothing to do with the results of his activities, whether virtuous or sinful. Even one's material body, being a gift of the Lord for carrying out a particular type of action, can be engaged in Krishna consciousness. It is then beyond contamination by sinful reactions, exactly as the lotus leaf, though remaining in the water, is not wet. The Lord also says in the Gita 3.30, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, resign all works unto resign all works unto me, Krishna. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses, but a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna.
Yeah. So that's what a devote or a practicing karma yogi, Nishkam karma yogi, he knows that the intelligence belongs to Krishna, or can say Prakriti, and the body belongs to Krishna or Prakriti, God or Prakriti. So so even the intelligence to perform activities, the ability to perform activities, everything belongs to Prakriti or God. So the results, so in that way, one is not, so, and they don't belong to the Atma. So in that way, so one will also understand, so that the results of the activities also belong to them. So so we know clearly that if someone else is not doing, someone else has done the work, so then it is common sense, that the credit also should go to them, not to us. So that way, so so that is the thing. So that's why a karma yogi will not be attached to the fruits of the action, and in that way he will not be uh, affected by any mistakes also done in that action. So that's why he will not be affected by any sin, because he is doing that activity solely for the purification and for the pleasure of the Lord. So that's why he can stay like a lotus. So the lotus, though it is in the pond, it doesn't become dirty. It is very pure. So Padma Patra Ivambasa. Okay, so yeah, from next verse we'll discuss in the next week. Okay, so any questions on what we discussed, either in the 4th chapter, 5th chapter? Any questions? Okay, so there are no questions, then we'll stop here. Okay. Thank you very much for your patient listening and participation.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Yes. Shri
Dandavat pranam.
Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita
Jai.
ki jai. Thank you.
Jai. सर्वप्रथम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः।
नमो नमः।